Welcome, everyone. Welcome. If we can all have a seat, we'll get started. We'll call the meeting to order. This is a great day in Brevard. This is the Space Coast TPO's Governing Board meeting, and today is April 10th, 2025. We're calling this meeting to order. Please stand with me for the pledge. Thank you. Anyone wishing to make a comment on an item not on the agenda should complete a speaker card at the end of the sign-in desk. For items on the agenda, please fill out a speaker card and you will be called upon when the item is discussed. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. We'll start with the Executive Director's report. Georgiana?
If I'm sorry, oh my gosh. If I may.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you please call the roll for a quorum? Thank you.
Present.
Capizzi? Here. Cole?
Here.
Connors?
Here.
Delaney? Here. Feltner? Forrester?
Here.
Foy?
Here.
Goodson? Hammer? Hanley? Here. Jaffe?
Here.
Johnson? Kennedy? Smith?
Here.
And Young.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. All right, now we'll have the Executive Director's report.
All right.
Georgiana.
Well, it's great to see all of you today. My director's report is on page 4 of your agenda package. Just a couple of things I wanted to point out to you. First of all, Honest AV is our new production company that we've hired. And Gabe Greer and his team will be recording and streaming our meetings. So the microphones are very sensitive, so you probably do not need to get up close to the microphone. If you're having any side conversations, you may want to step outside because it can really pick up those conversations. So as a reminder, if you do have any comments or discussion, make sure that you are close to a microphone so that we can make sure that we get everything recorded. So we're excited to have this Honest AV on our team. Also, we're excited to announce that we have 2 new employees that has joined the TPO. The first one is Madeline Calvert. Madeline, do you want to stand up, please? So Madeline will oversee our fiscal operations and our grant management, keeping our financial systems running smoothly. She'll be working very closely with Jillian. And before joining, she worked for the city of Altamont Springs. And then we have Leah Nepo, who is our new community engagement coordinator. She led impactful community programs. Leah, stand up. So she led very impactful community programs at Serene Harbor before joining. And she brings 6 years of experience in public engagement. So we're really excited to have both of them. They've hit the ground running, and we're really pleased with the work that they're doing. Also, the MPOAC Weekend Institute. This is for interested board members of the governing board, and it will cover responsibilities and authority, critical funding issues, and much more. But it is an opportunity for members, elected officials, to share issues, network, and ask questions. Space is limited. It's going to be held on May 16th and 17th at Embassy Suites by Hilton, Tampa Airport, West Shore. And because they're wanting to get a small group together, probably the most we could send is 3 members. But if you are interested, please let Zoe know before you leave here today, because DOT Central Office is wanting to get a head count. When we want to reserve our spots, we can sign you up, register you, and Zoe can make hotel accommodations for you. So we would prefer that newer members go first as opposed to the members that have already been. And I know some of our veteran members have been before and they come back just raving about it because you're going to learn more about MPOs than you could ever imagine. So it's a very good course. Also, the second annual Central Florida Safety Summit will be held by DOT on May 9th at Midway Suites at the Daytona International Speedway. I think Zoe sent out a reminder to everyone. Registration will be forthcoming, and Chuck, I'm not sure if I'm stealing your thunder, but sure.
Excuse me, being that Commissioner? Yes, sir. Yes, I checked on that, and they should send out the registration link this afternoon.
Perfect. So we will send that to all of you, or we can register you. I'm not sure if there's going to be a cost, but we may be able to do that for you because it is going to be pretty much an amount of time, and it includes lunch as well. So it may be something that we could sign you up for. I'd encourage all of you to attend because this is really important for all of us, and that is safety. So, all right. So at your place, you also have a legislative summary of transportation-related bills of interest. I'm not going to go through these. It's kind of dated at this point. I know things can happen, can change very quickly in Tallahassee. But the MPOAC will be meeting in Tallahassee on April the 24th. And so I will be attending, and FDOT Secretary Perdue will also be speaking at the MPOAC and discussing state priorities. So I hope to gain some more insight on some of those legislative actions. Also, for situational awareness, the state has returned all of the carbon reduction funds, and those funds have been deleted from the DOT work program. And so for reference, the infrastructure bill, our current infrastructure bill, established the carbon reduction program, which provides funds for projects designed to reduce transportation emissions from on-road highway sources. So for us, at the Space Coast TPO, that affects 8 projects. We don't get a lot of money from that program, a little over $1 million a year, but you can imagine $1 million a year gets sprinkled over a lot of different projects in our work program. DOT, of course, was also programming projects as well. But our district has been very hands-on, contacted us. We got a call from Tallahassee, and they have been working to try and fill in those funding gaps. And they've already made a lot of progress on that because I just saw a snapshot. But before they hand over the newest snapshot without the carbon reduction funds in it, they want to make sure it's all done. So I bring this to your attention because we do have an add-on that will be under consent, which is at your place, a separate page, and it is for a UPWP amendment, and it reflects a decrease in carbon reduction funds in the amount of $110,381, which happens to be funding we were utilizing for the Dixon Boulevard Complete Street Corridor Study. And so what we are doing is just swapping it out with our SU, which is the fund code for our federal allocation at the TPO. I think we're going to be okay, but I just wanted to let you know about this for situational awareness. And then the last item, just wanted to let everyone know that we are going to do our best to try and implement about a 1.5-hour meeting from this point forward. Instead of a 2+ hour meeting. There are times when folks are trying to get into this room and they're standing outside waiting. Of course, you know, we have to break down a lot of equipment. We have a lot of side conversations going on, and so if we end the meeting a little sooner, we won't be rushed, and you know, because we want to hang out, and the DOT folks want to hang out and listen to concerns and issues, and so we think that'll give us some cushion. But to do that, our presentations may have to be shorter, which is going to be on us as staff, and to make sure that they are that they're shorter and focused, and also Any questions that come up and, that perhaps cannot be resolved on the TPO floor, it may require some one-on-one meetings with either DOT or TPO staff. So just wanted to, we don't want to cut short healthy discussion with the TPO board members and especially not from the public. But we want it to be efficient, and so we think we can strike a good balance here. So that is what we're going to do, and Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Georgiana. The technical and citizens advisory committees did not meet, so we will not have the report. We'll go right to 3C, which is Sarah. All right. I'm trying not to have feedback, so I'll just get closer. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, Sarah Crom, Senior Transportation Planner. Oh. So I wanted to report back on some public engagement that we recently conducted for the North Merritt Island Pioneer Trail. We held a workshop on March 26th. We had over 200 attendees come out, as well as we did a virtual lunch and learn with 16 attendees. Kudos to many of our staff members that spent hours upon hours the last month with over 15 phone calls, probably honestly closer to 70 emails at this point, and entering in 100 handwritten public workshop comments. The BPAC will not be held on April 28th. We are most likely canceling it due to a lack of any action items or relevant agenda items. We don't want to meet just to meet, be respectful of everyone's time. So Zoe will probably be sending out that cancellation next week or the week after. Yeah, it would be next week, yep. So, and that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Excellent report. All right, we will also not have 3D. We will go right to E, the Florida Department of Transportation. Chuck Gopperno. Thank you, Chuck.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Chuck Coppernoll with Florida Department of Transportation. To begin, I have some project updates. The State Road 401 bridge rehabilitation over Barge Canal, which will include painting, structural steel improvements, bridge deck improvements, and new span lock assembly has begun on April the 2nd of this year. The widening of Space Commerce Way to a 4-lane road to allow transportation of oversized loads along with private and commercial transportation has been completed and received final acceptance on March 11th. The milling and resurfacing at State Road A1A from State Road 404 to Sherry Lee Lane, along with other improvements, has also been completed and received final acceptance on March 11th. Any additional information on other projects currently being constructed are in the construction report within the agenda packet. Now I have some past and upcoming events. The second span of the NASA Causeway Bridge opened on March 18th, which was immediately supporting oversized vehicles only hours after the opening. There is still some finishing work that needs to be done before the project is complete in May of this year. And also, as a reminder, the Central Florida Transportation hiring event on April 30th from 3 to 7 p.m. is going to be held at the Osceola Heritage Park in Kissimmee. You can register at roadtoyourfuture.com, and also a flyer was sent out a month ago that also has a QR code. And if you register, you will be able to view job offers from the FDOT along with other recruiting partners. And some of those positions do require advanced application before arriving to the event to be hired on site. And finally, April 21st to the 25th is Work Zone Awareness Week, and District 5 is partnering with local law enforcement across Central Florida to conduct educational traffic stops. It is so important that road users remember, while approaching an active work zone, to watch for vehicles coming onto the road or going off, be aware of the workers while driving through a work zone, slow down to the posted speed limits, and save lives by avoiding distractions and driving sober. Madam Chair, this concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Capano. Any questions for Mr. Yes, Ms. Hanley?
On US one, you know, I know if you're the Brooklyn. Okay, on US one, because I've got a lot of comments from this, that they have, I'm trying to, like blocks that separate a wall, a little small wall and all that blocks the road from the, I guess you would, I was driving up there like the bike path. And a lot of people are very afraid of that because they said if we had to pull over, there's not an opening. And I was wondering why we did that.
What I know, Madam Henley, that those are lane separators usually used to to separate the bike ped lanes with the traffic lanes. That's their intention. But that's what they're there for. So, but these complaints, I will definitely send these concerns up.
Because I mean, I would like it if they would, I'm going to tell people, if they have concern, where do I need to have them sign? I go send a letter to you guys because I think it's more effective for you.
Absolutely.
So I guess I'll get with Joe Jan where they need to write the letter to.
Yeah, that'd be good if you go through the TPO, and she'll work with me as well.
Because they're just afraid. I mean, and it's
Absolutely.
just, they're going, if we have to pull off for some reason, they're going, there's no pulling off like it used to be. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
everything changes, but it's just openings at driveways and with the rain, stormwater drains and all that. So they're like, there's no place to pull over on that.
Okay.
Okay.
The department has, in some recent social media posts, they've seen some complaints. You know, part of it was also for traffic calming. I understood. I'm just saying that it was, FHP has clocked people going through there about 100 miles an hour. And it kind of began with the mayor of the city of Palm Shores to try and do more traffic calming, and that was a compromise between, you know, kind of the county commission and Palm Shores. But understood, I've seen the complaints, and it's something different.
Just worry about safety issues.
Sure.
If they have to pull over, you know, God forbid for some reason they have to pull over, and they're just worried about safety issues.
Well, thank you for those comments, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Capano. All right,
Yes,
next
ma'am.
item. We're going to item 4, consent agenda. Joanna, would you please read the consent agenda aloud for the record?
Sure. Consent agenda for item 4A is the TPO Governing Board meeting minutes of March 13th. B is committee appointments. C is the second amendment to our legal services agreement. It's to extend our agreement for 3 years and to change our legal counsel representative to Ms. Kristen Ottinger, who is our new legal counsel, and we're very excited to have her. She is also the legal counsel for the River to SCTPO and the MPOAC for the statewide MPO organization. And she works with Mr. Gogelman's firm, Weiss, Sirota, Helfman, Hull, and Bierman. And then 4D is the add-on that I mentioned for the UPWP amendment that we are doing at this time. So that is the consent agenda.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to, hold on, Mr. Allender? Oh, all right, motion, Mr. Allender. Second, Commissioner Delaney. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, thank you very much. Next item is item 5, action item, approval for funding of Cape Canaveral pedestrian crosswalk.
All right, this is mine, and I will kind of kick this off. The city of Cape Canaveral has a long-standing documented history of advocating for slower speeds on State Road A1A in Cape Canaveral through multiple resolutions, including priority items for safety improvements, such as signalized pedestrian crosswalks at various locations. And throughout the Councilmember Willis's tenure, He has tirelessly advocated for safety improvements on A1A during the time he's been on the TPO governing board. You know, the main priority of the city of Cape Canaveral has been for a long time is a reduction of speed to 35 miles per hour. As you come over, you know, on the beach line into the city of Cape Canaveral, folks are really moving as they come into the city. Since 2023, there's been 6 pedestrian crashes on A1A within the city and 1 fatality. And on page 57 of your package, there is kind of a timeline of events that you can kind of follow along, you know, for the temporary crosswalk and other activities just over the past 2 years that the city has been involved in. And it really kind of, you know, starting on February the 17th when Mr. Bill Grover, a citizen, was hit and seriously injured on A1A right in very close to City Hall. He died a month later from his injuries. There was a Florida Today article and various residents in the area were very upset and, you know, really wanted more pedestrian crosswalks in the area. And then May of 2023, the city, it was really the first temporary crosswalk that was used for Friday Fest. And it was activated once a month, manned, coned, and it had lit pedestrian crossings. That was very, very successful. And then in June of 2023, the DOT conducted a large, you know, pedestrian safety study recommending pedestrian refuges within the area, basically at Taylor and Hayes. And then on August of 2024, there was a big public meeting at the Cape Canaveral Community Center. A lot of residents, it was very well attended. And they got a lot of really good input from the public. And then in September of 2023, the city reaffirmed their resolution, 23-02, which is included in your agenda, making a formal request for a signalized pedestrian hybrid beacon at Taylor Ave and Hayes Ave, as the pedestrian refuges were just, they fell short of the safety features that the community wanted. And July of 2024, the TPO added the A1A pedestrian hybrid beacon crosswalk to our list of project priorities, and that was adopted by the TPO governing board. And then January of this year, the DOT confirmed that it would design this pedestrian hybrid beacon crosswalk, but it was looking for funding to actually construct the crosswalk. There is a big resurfacing project that is ongoing, or will be moving forward with a letting date of December of 2026, and it is a pavement-only project. So basically, they're just going to resurface the road, but it will not be anything more involved than that. So this pedestrian crosswalk just south of Taylor Ave will be incorporated into the project with this additional funding, and it really does make good business sense. They're already touching the road, they're already tearing up the road, and this is an opportunity for the city and the community to get something that they have been wanting and requesting for many, many years. So what we are asking for, and this is, by the way, a conceptual rendering of what this crosswalk would look like, and that is also in your agenda package. So we are asking your approval to use the TPO's SU funds in fiscal year 27, which is when the project will be constructed, $475,000 of our allocation. And Councilmember Willis is here in case you know, he may be able to add a little bit more information, but that is the request.
Thank you. Mr. Willis, did you want to make any comments, or are there any questions for Mr. Willis?
No comment.
All right. All right. All right, thank you. There's a motion by Mayor Blake. Is there a second by Mr. Forrester? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, saying nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Mr. Willis, thank you for championing this for your city, and TPO, thank you for funding.
Well, I want to thank you all for the support and for reducing the number
All right, thank you. Okay, that concludes that. Next is presentations, Governing Board Strategic Plan Workshop. Sarah.
All right, good afternoon. Once again, Sarah Crom, Senior Transportation Planner. We are going to try to keep this short and sweet to about 25 to 30 minutes, but this is still a really important part of strategic planning, basically our next 3 years. With that, I would like to introduce Jess. She is going to serve as our facilitator today, and I will allow Jess to introduce herself.
Thank you, Sarah. It's such a pleasure to be here today. I don't think I've had the opportunity yet to present to you all, and I'm really excited the first time I'm doing it. It's on my favorite topic of strategic planning. I'm a huge fan of the effort and excited to lead you today on this. Before I get started, I wanted to remind folks, I believe this is kind of a workshop style, or did you want to have formal raise of hands situation? Awesome. So there's going to be some interactive pieces further on in the agenda. So when those come, feel free to just speak up. We won't do a formal process there, so we'll have that workshop style. All right. So for the agenda today, first I'm going to actually pause and reflect on your mission and vision in a moment. But right when we complete that, we're going to pass it over back to Sarah, who's going to remind you all what you've accomplished with your current strategic plan. As someone new to your plan, I was really impressed by all the effort that went into that. It's very clear what your priorities are, so excited to see where you move forward in the future with that. And then, as I said, we're going to have an interactive session following Sarah walking through the successes from the last plan, and then we're going to wrap up on next steps. All right, so who here was involved in developing the current strategic plan at the Brevard Zoo? I believe you all had that workshop. All right, so we have one who participated there, or two. Excellent, excellent. And who has been involved in strategic planning exercises ever in their profession? Okay, so most of the group is pretty familiar, but for those of you that maybe haven't done it in a little while or haven't at all, really what we're trying to do is define the direction of the organization. It's very common for TPOs, MPOs to do this exercise, and it's really getting to your mission and vision. What is going to guide you? What direction are you taking? Where are you going to put your resources to achieve your vision and mission there? And there's really several benefits from doing this, as I've been saying, the clear priorities. It's very important for governing boards to have clear direction because you have funding, you have to figure out where to use it. Unfortunately, we don't have enough money to do everything, so having that clear set of priorities is very important. And then the metrics, so you guys can all measure how are you doing in achieving those priorities. So the metrics of the plan are also very, very helpful. And then last, very important for your constituents and your partners, you have transparency and accountability when you do strategic planning. So that's another very important element. So I'm going to pause there, just kind of reminding everyone the purpose of strategic planning. And before we get to the interactive session, first we want to reflect again on your last plan. So Sarah, I'll pass it over to you.
All right, thank you, Jess. So for those that are unaware, our strategic plan is a 3-year plan, and so we are coming up on our current plan sunsetting. But before we start working on developing our new plan, I did want to share some of the wins and successes that we had from over the last 3 years. So as you can see from our strategic plan, we're broken out into 5 emphasis areas: leadership, safety, linking transportation land use, resiliency and sustainability, technology, and data. And so I'm going to walk through each of those emphasis areas. So for leadership, just to highlight a few, what we're focusing on is implementing our governing board strategic plan and representing and promoting the Space Coast TPO. So annually, you have adopted our legislative priorities. There was the development of our new governing board officer policy, as well as also annually you approve, well, not annually, every 2 years you approve our unified planning work program, which really outlines what us as staff is going to do to support you and your strategic plan. Safety, which is implement a safe transportation system for all users. And so we have funded, well, you have, as board members, have funded quite a few projects, including sidewalks on NASA Boulevard, Jackson Avenue, and Michigan Avenue, as well as also adopting and updating our Vision Zero Action Plan last February, updating the high injury network map, so really giving us a good view of where we're having the crashes and need to focus in. And also, we were awarded the FDOT Safety Outreach Award, as well as also securing the Safe Streets for All funding for Emerson and the Railroad Crossing Elimination Grant for the 7 rail crossings. Linking transportation and land use, plan a network that provides transportation choices. And so we participated on the state infrastructure bank loan with FDOT using TPO funds to fully fund Ellis Road, which has been the #1 priority for as long as I can remember. We completed the COCO Intermodal Station Feasibility Study. The TPO funded a corridor study for State Road 405 widening that FDOT is currently administering. We finalized the Fisk-Roywall intersection control evaluation, which that design is wrapping up rather quickly, so we're looking forward and trying to figure out how we can fund it for construction. And we began the Southern Brevard Trails Master Plan. Resiliency and sustainability. We adopted the Transportation Resiliency Master Plan in October 2022, which received an MPOAC Noteworthy Practice Award. And then FDOT initiated the State Road 520 Causeway Vulnerability Assessment late last year. And that was a direct project that was identified through coordination with Cocoa Beach, as well as also the Resiliency Master Plan. Finally, technology and data. So implement technology to enhance reliability of the transportation system. Annually, the TPO allocates $300,000 per year to Brevard County for transportation. I just blanked on TISMO, sorry, for ITS operational support. We funded the Malabar Road ITS infrastructure project for fiscal year 29. And then we've been working on developing and upgrading a state of the system dashboard so that data is readily available to you and all of our partners. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about what we've accomplished, or if there are no questions, then Jess will move on to our actual workshop. Awesome, thank you.
If you don't mind, can you all give yourselves a round of applause? That was amazing, all the accomplishments that you all have done, the board and also the staff. I work with a lot of MPOs throughout Florida and the country, and it's just really impressive what you all have accomplished. So looking ahead, the next 3 to 5 years. So before we get started in the interactive session, I wanted to just remind folks through some photos here that think big in this next session. We have a lot of different members of the community we need to be thinking about in this next session we're going to do. There are a lot of different modes of travel that we need to be thinking about. So think about your constituents, think about all the needs, and please, all ideas are good ideas. So looking forward to the discussion. So here is a list, a concise 1-slide snapshot of the 5 goal areas that Sarah just walked through. That's in your current plan. So again, leadership, safety, linking transportation and land use, resiliency and sustainability, and technology and data. So as you look at this list, and as you're listening to Sarah, we are going to take some notes. So this is my colleague Fanny, and we're going to take some notes. What goals are missing? Are there any goals missing as you reflect on this list? And you can think about your use of the network. You can think about, again, your constituents' use of the network, your family members. Kind of just think in different lenses if anything's missing here that you think your TPO should focus on for the next 3 to 5 years. And if you nailed it and it's still important, then that's okay too. And we can throw out some ideas as well, but I don't want to do your strategic plan in that manner. So. Well, I'll throw out one. Some MPOs, TPOs say funding. Funding is a priority that they want on the list. So that's another one you could think of. I don't know if that is one example. Yeah, so we'll add funding. Yeah, yeah. So it's a thread throughout all of them. Yep, yep.
I don't know if this would be one of the big ones, but I know that we have public participation in our leadership section, but maybe like the implementation of the public's ideas.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yes.
how that fits in. But
Yeah, that's
definitely-
great. That's great. Yeah, and that's just, it's very important for what you do and what your organization represents.
I think also as a part of that, implementing public ideas, how we communicate, because again, we're in this room and we may have situational awareness, but I'm just, how are we communicating publicly, widespread? I mean, we talked about that a little bit when we talked about the social media last time, but how are we ensuring that that happens for the public?
So maybe that your messages, I'm hearing that you have clarity in your messages for many audience members and that you're reaching as many community members as possible so they
Right,
can
we want to make sure
understand.
we're communicating with as many people as
Yeah.
possible, especially if they're not engaged or in this
Right.
room.
Right. Excellent. Good.
I don't know how this really works, but I think there needs to be more of a connection between the TPO and the commission of the specific cities or
Okay.
the county.
Yeah.
I know we have one delegate of each of us, but what happens a lot is I think we're seeing with the barriers or raised crosswalks or whatever, a lot of stuff gets implemented that the city or county or whatever it is really doesn't want.
Okay.
So I think we need better cohesion or better communication when it comes to just going on with a project without being 100% sure that that's what that city wants.
I love walking into this building. It's called Center for Collaboration, and the term collaboration comes to mind, and having that consistency in communication and really listening to each other and working as a team before installing something. I like that. These are great ideas. Yeah. Anything else pop to mind?
I don't know if this is the right section here, but I sometimes see a disconnect between what we're hearing at the local level and what's coming out of the state.
Okay.
Georgiana's pretty good about keeping us going on with what she knows about, but then we have a project that's on the list, and the next thing we know, it's scheduled to start next year, and the next thing we know, the state's coming in and doing half of the work now, which means they have to tear up the rest of it next year when they don't redo it. And just a little way to develop a closer working relationship and a little more advanced notice and input from the DOT level.
Yeah. Excellent. And that is a problem I've seen elsewhere too, just that tying of schedule and really optimizing, and maybe a few phone calls earlier in the process could help that. Yes, sir.
I think there needs to be a focus too on like specifications and means and methods and contractor selection and how projects are designed and engineered, because in private sector versus federal and public, it's a lot more expensive than a private contractor, private design firm can do. So I think looking at it at that angle, I think we're spending way too much money on design, technology, construction.
So maybe efficiency in that every dollar goes as far as it can, type of.
If you pull up an
Yep.
FMT handbook, it's
Yeah.
section for different things.
Yep.
This big.
Yep.
I agree with Mike. Efficiency, I think, probably should be number one on that list. I mean, there's so many things that we build, and then 3 months later, we rip it out. Like he's saying, the same thing with, you know, communication with the cities, that, you know, they don't want certain things and it gets built anyways. You know, the barriers, all this has to do with efficiency and communication. It's all intermingled, but
Right.
there's, you know, millions upon millions of dollars a year that is being wasted because we're not communicating properly with each other.
Very good points. Did you have something?
Yes, I'm looking more so from a realistic timeline, because we do have setbacks
Yeah.
sometimes, so that they may become prolonged than what's on the timeline. So that's what I would like to be able to make sure we can have what we call like real time.
Yeah.
Am I making sense to you?
To clarify, schedule adherence or to push folks to do it quicker in general?
Well, I mean, if they can do it quicker in general, that's an incentive,
Yeah.
you know? Let's
Yeah.
be honest about that. I mean, I want it done yesterday
Right,
instead of
right.
today. But more so than anything else, to keep that line of communication, collaboration
Yeah.
available. Because the most important thing of all those Cs, we gotta have that
Yeah.
cooperation
Yeah.
when we have that communication and collaboration. And I think people really wanna know what's up front, you know? We all get those phone calls in the
Yeah.
midnight of the hour saying,
Yeah.
why are we doing this? No one told me, you know, that type. And when will it be completed, realistically speaking?
Yeah. This makes a lot of sense. I work with a lot of TPOs, as I was saying, and being a liaison to the community and the agencies that own and maintain the roads, I think that makes a lot of sense, that I'm hearing a lot of focus on talking to each other, connecting, collaboration, cooperation. So that's great. Anything else pop to mind? Okay. Yeah.
You get the opportunity to come from a municipality perspective.
Yeah.
Come to our meetings and tell us, so we can share that dialogue, or even on a county level. Send the liaison, Big Chuck. We have Big Chuck in the house tonight, or whatever the case may be, so that we can get that, you know, straight from the
Yeah.
horse's mouth, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
reassuring, and that's when the citizens hear that.
Yeah.
They like that, you know, they
Yeah.
want to be first to know.
Right.
I'm on the inside, you know, that type.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. You guys are in your positions for a reason. You have passion to want to be ahead of the decisions and be part of making them. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We often hear when we're in the agency talk about strategies a little too vague, and tactics are more important.
Mike.
Sorry.
I'm not allowed to speak here like a lot of people. Is this even working?
Yes, it's
So Linda Weatherman always talked about tactics and not strategy, and these things are kind of vague. And so when we talk about technology and getting information out, I just looked at how many followers the TPO has on social media. It's 3,900. So how are we effectively communicating the information to folks? We have, over 500,000 people that live in Brevard County. Is it 600,000 yet?
650.
All right, so a lot of folks. So are we getting the message out there in an appropriate way? So if it were up to me, I would make a recommendation if we have projects coming up to do some strategic marketing and Facebook ads or social media, Instagram ads, whatever it is, to get that information from them. At the city of Titusville, we just brought out a new vendor to do something called Flash Vote, where we can do up to 6 surveys a year and get real granular with, hey, what do you think about this? So just a recommendation on a tactic you guys could use to improve that communication with the public.
Thank you. That's helpful. The tactics and the execution is just as important as the strategy. So, yes, sir.
Many of the items we're bringing up now, and Sarah can correct me if I'm wrong, these were sub-points to each of the regional strategic plans. And maybe we should just emphasize them more,
Yeah.
for their inclusion in those 5 major topics.
Correct. I've been writing down, as you guys have been on, you guys should have the same worksheet. So I've been writing down, and I have funding, which is listed within leadership. Public participation, also listed within leadership. The collaboration, honestly, that completely is woven throughout. and is one of like our main purposes. We should constantly be striving to collaborate, coordinate, and communicate more and more and better and better. And then efficiency, I'm not necessarily sure that we specifically say it, but we do discuss being good stewards of federal funds and things like that. So I think that Mr. Willis, to your point, is we do have them, but should we be switching our strategic plan in a way that we make that emphasis? So rather than saying leadership, do we change leadership to communication, collaboration, coordination?
Yep.
And yeah, so it's like we have it there. It's just, and then, if there are any other shifts in focus, which Jess is going to lead you in another exercise to help you prioritize your focus. But I think we have some really great bones, and that, there's some way to emphasize. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yes.
I think another thing is that I've seen on several different situations is when a plan is put in place and we're going to build X road and put it here, or we're going to repair Y road and fix it over here. Well, in the meantime, while we're going through our 2 or 3 year process to do any of that, something happens. Somebody comes in and builds a new subdivision. Somebody comes in and builds a new shopping center or a new medical facility. It is often, from what I've seen, we're stuck with the original plan because to go back and alter it is, almost impossible to do at a certain stage of the game. And so we end up with an unsuitable or less than optimal system in place that could have saved a lot of money. And then, of course, we have to go back and fix it in 2 years, and it costs 3 times as much money. So we could save a lot of time and money if we had a way to, and I don't have a clue how to do this because this involves, the state and the federal government and everybody else that's got a penny in the game, getting together and changing this kind of stuff. But it would save money in the long run, and it would give us a more efficient transportation system.
Yeah. Maybe like the black swan list, like the thing you don't know that's coming, look for it and have a discussion. And maybe through that extra communication, you'll identify what I call black swans, like the swan you didn't know existed, right? You only thought there were white swans, but there's a black swan out there. So, yeah. All right. I think we're ready for the next exercise, if there's not anything else. Okay, so that was really fun for me. Hope you found that fun to share your ideas. But even more fun, we're going to pretend we're almost in an auction. So you guys have paddles in front of you, and I'll put the next slide here, are in your folders. So you each should have 2 paddles. There's a number 1, a number 2, a number 3, and a star. And you also have a handout where we're going to give you just a couple minutes to reflect on what we just spoke about as new goals, potentially. And you can write them in your sheet here, and we're going to do that. We're going to do that as well up here. But we want you to reflect on the goals you have currently, the new ones we just discussed, and think about if you could only vote for a number 1, a number 2, and a number 3 priority of the full long list, which ones would you pick? And you only get 1 number 1 vote, 1 number 2 vote, and 1 number 3 vote. We trust you. We're not taking count how many times you vote. But again, we want you to be able to reflect. That's why you have the handout. And we will, on our side, be putting them up on the board here, what we just discussed, adding those new potential goals. And then we'll kind of auction and do the priority voting and ranking.
Are we using this list here in reference like funding efficiency?
Yeah, so collaboration, communication, and we're going to add them here, so you'll see them as well. But just kind of think through what is most important to you.
So we are adding number F is going to be funding. Number G is going to be public participation. H, collaboration. Do I need to slow down? I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going to.
Start again, please.
Yep. F for funding. I didn't do that on purpose. G for public participation. H for collaboration, which is kind of our communication, collaboration, coordination, all the C's. And I is efficiency. Did you get that, Fanny?
Can I ask a question about the funding? When we say funding, are we talking about finding ways to get more money?
I would think that it could be not just, researching new and different funding sources or pursuing, other current funding sources, but also how do you strategize and prioritize the limited resources that you have available? I think that funding could go a lot of different directions.
So not necessarily implementing new taxes to charge more people.
I want to think, maybe it's looking into different types of funding sources, but I'm not going to sit here and say
The last thing I want to do is,
yeah.
is try to figure out how we can tax the people more money to try to do stuff like this.
I think if I could, I think it's more so like what grant opportunities are maybe out
Okay.
there and that kind of thing. That's what
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Yes.
The definition of GH. So which would be coming into a community and talking to the elected officials of a small town about projects? Would you put that under public participation or collaboration?
I honestly think that we should just go ahead and combine those, and I'm glad you brought that up because my brain, while I was sitting there discussing it with you, so I think what we do is let's scratch out G and just collaboration involves all of that. Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's broad interpretation.
Okay, you're already on. Perfect. Great.
Oh, yeah, that's what we originally were going to do. So, yeah. Just give us one more second. We're going to, since this is so difficult to see, I'm going to really quickly just edit the PowerPoint.
Perfect.
This land is made for men.
And also, as you guys are reflecting on your priorities, this is just to get a flavor of where you want to go in your priorities, but we'll be working with staff on the details of what word, how it's written, the tactics that go into it. So you'll be seeing that additional detail and have another opportunity to provide your opinion. We are not going to create the plan just off this one meeting and off you go. So, yeah, you'll have more opportunities. This is kind of just a fun, get the brain going, and see where you guys are thinking we should be.
Yeah, this is to provide us with direction so we can start building a plan.
Some additional collaboration.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're strategizing how to do the strategy of the.
I think, is everyone ready to vote on your top goals?
I'll tell you about the star after. Yeah, there's a use of that star. All right, so I'm going to read off each goal, and as I read it off, if it's your first, second, or third priority, raise that number. And Fanny's going to help us document how many get each of these priorities. So, leadership, if that's your first priority, 0. Oh, one. Thank you. I'll pause a little longer, let you guys. Excellent. So anyone have leadership as their second priority? Third. Okay, 0, 0. And maybe leadership is just, again, embedded in all, like you were saying, the funding. All right, safety. Did anyone have safety as a number 1? Oh yeah, that's great. You can just lift your number if it's 1, 2, or 3, and we can count it.
Oh, yeah.
So if it hit 1, 2, or 3, raise your paddle with your number. Okay, so we have 2 1s, 2 3s, 3, yeah, 2 3s, 3 3s, sorry, 3 3s, and a 1 2. Did you get that? Okay. That's a surprise. That comes next. All right. Linking transportation and land use. If that hit one of your top 3 priorities, please raise your number. Okay. I'll give people a minute before I start counting. I need to make sure I don't miss you. Okay. So 2 1s. You had what was your number? She had 3. 2 3 3s. Did you get the 2 2s? Can you guys keep them raised? Sorry, my eyes in the blues. And
We have.
I want to make sure I don't
yeah.
miss. So 1 2 3 3s.
Oh, we now have 3
and then 1
1s.
2 3 1s and 2 2s.
And 3 3s.
Thank you. Hopefully your arms don't get tired as we count here. You got that? Okay, excellent. So resiliency and sustainability. If that hit one of your, okay, so keep them raised. So we have 1 1, 2 2s, and 1 3. Awesome. Got it. Excellent. Technology and data. Give a minute. 1 1. And then it looks like 0 and 0 for 2 and 3. The next one, not to have a dramatic funding. Okay, funding. If it hit your priority list, I'm going to give everyone a minute to find their paddles. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 1s. Oh, 7 1s.
6 7.
1s can put theirs down. 2 1 2 3 4 4 2s. 2s can go down.
No 3s.
I think we got everyone? Okay. G we're skipping because we combined it with H, collaboration. Who has that on their priority list? Okay, so 1 2 3 4 1s. So 1s can put down. 2, you were 3, I think, right? Yeah. 2
1 2.
2 2s and 1 2 3 3 3s. I'm realizing I have bad eyesight, and this was probably not a great role for me to be counting.
I'm
Thank you
getting
for your
as well.
patience. Okay, awesome. And then the last new one, efficiency. Okay. 1 2 2 first, 1 second, and 3 third place, third priority. Did you get that? Awesome. And again, this was the honor system, so if you voted, it's all good. All right, so now the mystery star. We are looking for champions. So, and I know that term can mean something different for folks, but I know it's a familiar term, but just for this exercise, what we're trying to gain perspective on is, of all of these things, is there one or more than one that you want to be involved in the related efforts? You want to be speaking up on it in meetings. You want to connect with partners as a representative, and that you're just eager to learn and understand the topic. So if that is you, I'm going to read through them all again, and that's where you're going to hold up your star. There is an endless amount of stars we can have today. There's no limit on how many times you use the star. So you can raise your hand if you want to be a champion on any of these. All right, so the first one is leadership.
If you raise your star for a champion on something.
Yes.
Are you obligating yourself to more meetings, or, I mean, is this just a?
I think it's to be determined.
Like, I don't mind champion stuff,
Yeah.
but I want to know how far I'm going to be going.
Yeah,
here.
you know what? I respect that. I'm a busy woman and we have families, we have our jobs, you're doing this role. How about if it's a passionate topic for you, you raise the star, and I know the staff will work with the champions on the definition of your volunteer time, if you will. Does that sound okay?
For example, you know, I see Councilmember Willis as a champion of safety. Is you better hold your star up because he participates on the FDOT Safety Council. He's been advocating for his community for, you know, the last at least, you know, 6 years that I'm aware of for projects like the one you just approved. And so it's not just going to other meetings, but he's committing himself to recognizing that his community values safety, and so he's speaking up. And I'm sorry, you were raising your hand.
Well, no matter what you're championing, you're going to have to be involved in funding. Without funding, without collaboration, without leadership, without sustainability, all of it is going to be involved no matter what it is you're championing.
Yeah, there's a lot of connectedness, and I think as a baseline, you all just sitting here today, you're showing somewhat you're a champion in the eyes of the community, but within this group, do one of you or multiple of you make more sense to be the champion in this room and with partner agencies on specific topics? But as a baseline, you're championing all of these things, for sure. So, but yeah, we'll work with you. And also I know efficiency is one of the words, so your time will not be wasted. If there are additional needs for communication, will be concise, to the point, and it's for a reason. We don't want to waste your time. So, all right, I'm ready to see your guys championing votes. So leadership. Okay, Chairwoman, yeah.
I don't think my mic is, oh, there we go. Okay, so all of these depend on the other one in order to be successful. Of course, you have to have funding, but if it isn't used efficiently, then there's no point in having funding. You have to have collaboration, all of them. It's like a house of cards. If any of these falls out, the whole thing falls apart. So naturally, I have to be on all of them because I happen to have my fingers in all of it. But I don't wish I'm glad I don't have your job to have to then prioritize these. Because they all work together. They all come as one. Make one word and include all of these letters, which I don't know if you can do that because each one depends on the other one. So good luck on that.
Yes,
but I'm just going to hold my star
acronym.
up here, and you can just put me on all of them. Thank you.
Yes, Mayor. Yes, absolutely. So we have Madam Chair. Oh, yeah, I'll need help with Zoe's going to help with, because again, I can't read as well.
So a champion to me, yeah. You're adamant about it. You vehemently will fight for this. Man.
Yes.
Come hell or high water.
Mm-hmm. Like when you hear the word, does your heart start, like you get that adrenaline, you want to really jump in?
Councilmember Allen, are you holding yours, or?
Oh. We signed you up for everything.
Okay, you said leadership, correct, ladies?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mr. Blake, were you holding yours up?
No, ma'am.
Oh,
No, ma'am, Ms. Zoe. No, you're getting close, though.
Warm. Oh, you got everyone?
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Zoe. Safety. Oh, good. He came through. There's no pressure.
Okay, I have Willis, Hanley, and Young.
Excellent. Awesome. Linking transportation and land use.
I have
All right. I kind of
Young,
love that.
Blake,
That's great.
Allender,
A lot of stars.
Hanley, Cole, Connors. I'm going too fast. Young, Blake, Allender, Hanley, Cole,
That's really cool to
Connors,
see.
Willis,
And Madam Chair.
and Young. Yeah. I think we got it.
All right. We're coming to a close. We're getting to the end here. Resiliency and sustainability. Near and dear to your heart. So, Madam Chair.
Yeah, you're the home star. You good, yeah.
I'm in New Smyrna. So
That's important.
Foy, Atkinson,
Resiliency and sustainability, what exactly are you, I mean, because there can mean a whole lot of.
So that's working with our resiliency master plan program and looking at areas that need improvements based on flooding, hurricanes, wildfires, and how we can bounce back and move forward after a disaster. So for example, the wave attenuating devices that they're putting out on the Max Brewer Causeway, or 2 years ago when poor Suzanne Phillips went through, I don't even know how many washouts on US 1 down in South Brevard. So I have Andrea, is it Foy? Okay, Foy, Atkinson, and Hanley, and Willis, okay.
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Oh, and, yeah. Well,
see it up
I'm
above.
putting young on all of them.
Yes.
That's what she said.
Oh,
so.
I like it. All right, so technology and data. County champion? Madam Chair? All right, and then funding. Awesome. So Madam Chair, Foy, Blake, Allender, Hanley, Cole.
Chaffee, Willis, and Smith.
Okay. You can't use 2 votes. Actually, you can, because I said unlimited stars, so if you grab your neighbors. So you're the president of the champion of funding with 2. Yeah. Yeah. All right. My personal favorite, if I were to vote, collaboration. Okay. I like it.
Blake, Smith, and Capizzi. No.
Okay. Last but certainly not least, efficiency. Awesome. So Madam Chair.
Blake, Atkinson, Joffrey, Willis, nope, Smith, Capizzi, Forrester, okay.
Yes. And actually, the champion could signal the priorities as well. So, okay. Thank you guys for, playing with us. It's a little silly, but I think it's effective and worked. So our team has a lot to work with there. So, okay, this is the last slide. Next steps, we'll be following up with the champions. I wanted to pause and note, you did a lot today. You have a lot of going on outside this meeting. As you think about today and reflect, if there's an area you want to have more information on, or you're like, gosh, I do want to be a champion, sign me up. You can let staff know. And so this isn't just a one-time opportunity. So if anything comes to mind on reflection, let us know. The team will be working on the draft strategic plan based on what we heard today. And that draft will be coming to you all in September with the hopes of adopting in October. So we have a busy summer preparing this for you, and we'll be back in the fall. And thank you again so much for the first time being able to present to you and see all the awesome things you're doing. Appreciate it.
Good. Yes.
So just before we go into the next presentation, we're going to do a quick public comment.
Okay.
And then we'll do.
For the county, and I have a couple things that I would love to update everybody on when it's
Sure.
appropriate. Would
Okay,
that be all right?
we will come to that. In fact, we're going to have public speaking right now, and then when we finish with the next one, and before we adjourn, we'll do that. Okay, all right, so we have the speaker card. Margaret Stenick?
Hi, I'm Maggie Stechik with South Patrick Shores, and we have a residents association, which is not it's not a thank you, HOA. It's actually a group of us that it's our representation, let's say, for this little tiny piece of geography that we have here. So I attended the South Beach Coalition meeting the other day, and some of you are here from there. Some of you know my president, Ann Samuelson, pretty well. She's been involved in a lot of these planning efforts over the years. But what I'm here to do is ask for people to consider giving us a space on the South Beaches Coalition as part of the MPO, to include our tiny little unincorporated piece of geography in some of the decision-making that happens on, in particular, the two major corridors that run through South Patrick Shores, which is, of course, A1A and South Patrick itself. So I've spoken to Georgiana about this. I've talked to Rob Feltner. Are you here, Rob? Not here. So Rob is technically our representative at this current time, but we just feel like we would be better served if we were part of the South Beaches Coalition because they're already organized. So that's the city of Satellite Beach, Indian Harbor Beach, and Indy Atlantic. And we have a very similar neighborhood style, and just the geography of the island itself, it kind of flows from 404 down to Eau Gallie or down to Fifth Avenue. So anyway, we're just asking if we could get some consideration to include us in that. So we have a little stake, tiny little stake in the future of transportation in our area. End of speech. Questions?
Is that something that we have jurisdiction over? Like, could we make a
So,
motion to allow
Laura,
that?
you can come up to, I don't believe so, because it's my understanding the South Beaches Coalition, the agreement is between the South Beaches.
Correct.
Now, what
We
the...
discussed it yesterday.
Correct, and what the agreement really, Laura, you are the, she's the expert.
Can I make one suggestion? There's an MOU between each of the entities. I mean, what I was proposing to do is to amend the MOU to include South Patrick Shores.
If you do have a memorandum of understanding, the MOU, for those of you who don't know what that stands for, that's different than they actually have an interlocal agreement. And so the composition of the Space Coast TPO organization is identified through apportionment plans. That's done every 10 years through the census. You have to be an incorporated community with elected officials. Those are the ones who sit on the governing board, following statute 339.175. So getting representation for your area really would be covered through a CAC appointment or just being involved in the planning process, which you are. You always have an opportunity to come and speak and provide any kind of comments or guidance. We're in the middle of developing our long-range plan. We have lots of public opportunity for people to come out and provide input. I believe for your area, you may want to coordinate with the city of Satellite Beach, Indian Harbor Beach, and Brevard County, and maybe get together with them to have kind of like a master plan for your area for future growth, because that's all already been kind of identified through future land uses. But as far as, a formal seat, legally, we would not be able to accommodate that unless you became incorporated as a city. And then we could reevaluate that through apportionment with the governor. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. It's a little complicated.
All right, our last item is the Space Coast TPO projects in orbit. Georgiana.
So, Madam Chair, in our effort to have an hour-and-a-half meeting, unless the board members just want me to go into this presentation, the information is there for you. And the whole purpose of it, we knew we had a little bit more time on the agenda because we had a short agenda, and it really was in anticipation of the next two meetings where we're really going to be digging into the cost feasible plan as we develop our long-range plan and our project priorities, the ranking of them. It's all tied to funding and prioritization and getting the department, the DOT's attention on what is important to this TPO. We thought it would be really good to have an overview. But what we have in here is the next, where the project is, where it's at in the pipeline, or in orbit, as we called it, and how much money is needed for the next phase. And as you can see, it's a lot of money. But be happy to answer any questions. And of course, you know, you all can call me and I can have briefings or what have you, but I don't want to just present. And we can also hear Commissioner Delaney's report as well. So if that's okay, I will hold it unless you have a specific question.
Any questions before we go to the order? I don't think my mic is working.
Yeah, so for example, what is the timeframe for the project overlay? Because I think we're getting ready to start overlaying 995.
Yes.
So we're going to overlay at 95, and we're going to widen. What is that timeframe from 95 being overlaid to widening at 95?
So, you know, the resurfacing project is more of a short-term project. The widening of I-95, it is in the initial PD&E phase, which is the very first environmental phase for the future 8-laning of I-95. And by the way, the city of Palm Bay has been, talk about leadership. Basically, the DOT only has a certain amount of money for the PD&E phase from South St. John's Heritage Parkway all the way to Malabar, which includes the interchange of Malabar. The PD&E is really, the PD&E is going to be going all the way to Fisk. And so I know there was a federal member project that was submitted to kind of help with that funding, but this is just for the PD&E phase. So the 8-laning of I-95 at this point is in the very beginning stage. It doesn't mean that the department can't look at interchange improvements at Malabar. I know O'Galley has problems as well, but the resurfacing is more of a short term, and they're going to do that because they have to maintain, you know, the road, and you know, it is definitely, you know, truck traffic is just incredible on I-95. We have 19 interchanges on I-95 just in Brevard County, and the average daily traffic on 95 is anywhere from 32,000 to 92,000 in Brevard County, which is a lot. And 15.6% of all traffic in Brevard County is freight traffic on 95. So it's definitely needed. Unfortunately, talking about funding, it's in the very beginning stage. I'm not sure if that is, I know that's not what you wanted to hear.
I know we don't have a toll system, but if there's that much freight coming through our county, there has to be a way to generate revenue from these companies that are property coming through
Yeah.
this county.
Councilmember Jaffe, I believe that there is going to come a time in the very near future where this whole business of an express lane, or it's going to come up, because I don't know how the department is going to be able to do these major projects like the widening of 528, and Lord knows I'm not advocating for tolling, but I don't know how it's going to get done otherwise. I really don't. So it may be something that will come up at some point in the very near future. I haven't heard that it would, but I can see the writing on the wall here, and we're continuing to grow. And I don't know what other alternative there is.
We're looking at widening and all that, but I think, like we've done the strategic planning, I think we have to look at, like Orlando, having the trains in there. How many people go to the Cape? I don't know. Used to be 30,000 people every day went to the Cape, which you have all those cars going. And if you had certain spots, at one time it used to be in my neighborhood, there was so many carpools going to the Cape and all that. We need to look at something like going back to the Cape, as we know, I call it the Cape, where there's certain spots, and whether it's a train, trolley, whatever you want to say, to take that off of the roads. It would do a lot, it would help a lot that we have that many off there. Or going down into Melbourne, where we have Harris, Grumman's, and everything else like that, where we have, so we're not having how many people come from your district, from your area in Palm Bay, come into Melbourne every day. And then we got Heritage Parkway. And that's just a, that's just a straight line. So we have to look at something other than roads coming in here. It's other why if it's a tri-rail or something coming into these spots. These are where everybody's going 5 days a week. Why we keep going to the roads, and it's just, we're gonna get wider and wider and wider.
We have to look at all funding, or excuse me, all options, multimodal, how we can, transit, which, I know Space Coast Area Transit, look at it from a different perspective. We talked about the mobility on demand opportunities.
Okay, we're here in Cocoa, they're putting Brightline. Why can't we have I know that I've had people from Fellsmere go to the Cape every day. Mm-hmm. Using something back onto the rail lines. We already have, if we have the Brightline spot and then the straight shot over to the Cape. I mean, think about how many people wouldn't have to have a car. We wouldn't have some of these spots where O'Galley Boulevard is just a hot mess at 95. 95 down in Palm Bay at Malabar Road is a hot mess at this hour of the day. They're backed up to probably almost Palm Bay Road. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to stop we keep looking at roads, but I think we need to go on to the next generation of transportation.
Look at all options, absolutely. It just takes money.
Well, everything. I mean, even if we have roads, it's still going to take money.
That's exactly
and then
right.
we got to buy the land, and then we got to
Yes.
do, So this would kind of
Yeah.
keep people without.
Thank you very much, McKinley. I still don't think my mic is working. Commissioner Delaney.
This actually goes perfect into what we were presented today at the CFX board. It's something called AAM Infrastructure Network, and it's Advanced Air Mobility. And basically what they are doing, and it's in the very, very early stages, they're talking about making these electric helicopters be like basically taxis. It's literally
Flying cars.
Out of the Jetsons. I mean, it's crazy. But I just thought, I don't know what that will look like because all of this was very conceptual when it was presented to us. Mm-hmm. But I just felt like, I wanted to share it, that this technology is out there. They're investigating it. They're trying to network with all the different entities that need to be involved. And I just wanted to bring it to our group to share that. I know that there may be some concerns with what does that look like. Mm-hmm. That was one of my questions for them, was like, how could they see that working in Brevard County? We have the space industry, we have military bases, we have international airport, regional airports. There's only so much airspace, but I mean, there's, just like you were saying, there's got to be something in the future that it can't just be roads. So.
Yes. Well, we were talking about in the coming months having a presentation to the governing board.
Oh, good.
On that, and we've talked about even at the Cocoa Brightline station that would be a perfect opportunity.
For sure.
That you could travel throughout. But yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
So a couple months, actually, feels like it's been 2 months. So we sent out a training that they're going to be holding both for staff level as well as elected officials on advanced air mobility. So I know we have 2 staff members that are attending. Miss Hanley is raising her hand, Willis, so Blake, so several board members as well. And also looking into the future, we need to update our intelligent transportation system master plan, and so we will be diving in and incorporating some of those more unique and new transportation options. So thank you for bringing light to that.
Yeah. And the second and final thing is we were briefed on wrong way driver notification systems to drivers through their navigation systems. So, and they had mentioned that FDOT was also doing the same thing on their roads. basically using their systems on the roadways, their cameras, to link it to our navigation systems to warn drivers of wrong way drivers when you're using the different roads. So I just wanted to bring publicity to that, let people know that that's a thing that's out there. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anything else? Oh, now we're working. Anything else for the good of the order here before we adjourn? I'd like to remind you that our next meeting is here on May 8th, but it will be at 2:30 instead of 1:30. You can always welcome to be here, but the rest of us won't be here till 2:30. All right, can we get a motion to adjourn? All right, thank you very much. We are adjourned. Thank you.